The story of Princess Caraboo is a fascinating tale of deception and mystery that captivated British society in the 19th century. It revolves around a woman named Mary Baker, originally from England, who posed as the fictional Princess Caraboo. She pretended to come from a distant and exotic island and successfully deceived the upper classes of British society and even the royal family. But let's start from the beginning. Who was Mary Baker? Hello guys and welcome. If you would like to hear more historical gossip, then just click on that subscribe button. Now let's start today's video. Mary was born on April 11, 1791 in Witheridge, Devon, a county in the southwest of England, to a modest family. Growing up, Mary had experienced a humble childhood and had spent much of her life in rural surroundings. As Mary grew up, she maintained a low-key and humble profile, being involved in various labour activities, but not pursuing a particularly distinctive or high-profile profession. Her main source of income came from farming and household chores. It was there that Mary probably decided she had had enough of that life and tried her luck in search of fame and a more comfortable lifestyle. Mary Baker arrived in the village of Almondsbury in 1817 at the age of 26. A small coastal village at the time, populated by only a few hundred inhabitants, located in Gloucestershire. That's where her fabricated fictional story began. Mary was found washed up on the shores of Almondsbury and presented herself to her rescuers as Princess Caraboo, claiming the hail from the distant island of Javasu in the Pacific Ocean, stating she had been abducted by pirates and managed to escape. Despite her elaborate story, Mary would actually have arrived in Almondsbury on foot or by means of transportation. Indeed, Witheridge, her hometown, is only a 1-hour walk from Almondsbury. Princess life on the island of Javasu, as described by Mary after being discovered, was characterised by elements of exoticism and adventure. She described a lush tropical environment with palm trees, white sandy beaches, and crystal clear water. A charming and idyllic base populated by kind and hospitable people. As Princess of Javasu, Mary recounted enjoying privileges and luxuries such as elaborate dresses, sparkling jewels, and devoted servants ready to attend to her every need. She also described her involvement in cultural and ceremonial activities such as traditional dances, religious ceremonies, and local festivities. In her narrative, Mary painted a captivating picture of her life as a princess on the island, rich with adventures, suitors, romance, and exoticism. Mary even pretended to speak a locally invented language made up of improvised sounds and gestures. This idyllic life is abruptly interrupted with the story of the alleged kidnapping of Princess Caraboo by pirates. A crucial point narrated on several occasions in a captivating manner to evoke fascination and interest around her figure, adding an element of romance and building mystery around her exotic background. In her story, Mary described being captured by pirates while strolling along the shores of Javasu Island. She recounts a sudden pirate attack from which she was forcibly taken away from the island. Following the capture, Mary recounts being held prisoner for several months. She described pirates as brutal and ruthless individuals, depicting her captivity with scenes of maritime adventures, violent storms, and clashes with other ships. She recounts the challenges she had to face while trying to survive in such a hostile environment. Throughout the captivity, however, Princess Caraboo boldly planned her escape. She tells of patiently waiting for the right moment, observing the movements of the pirates, their habits, and daily routines. The escape was described as an adventurous and risky event. Mary tells of having freed herself from chains and facing perilous obstacles during her escape, including a swim in open sea, challenges crossing dense forests, scaling steep cliffs, and navigating through dangerous water. Despite the adversities, Mary says she miraculously managed to survive and reach the British shores, where she began her new life in Almondsbury under the identity of Princess Caraboo. During her stay in Almondsbury, Mary was hosted by the Worrell family, particularly by Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Worrell Neal, at their residence in Knowle Park. Mary soon gained immense popularity. The story of a captivating princess and her exotic beauty captured the imagination of the local society and soon spread nationally. Princess Caraboo quickly became a celebrity, receiving visits from aristocrats, journalists, and even members of the British royal family. Subsequently, regarding her growing popularity and the interests sparked by her life, she was welcomed into various residences of wealthy and aristocratic individuals, where she spent time entertaining guests with her exotic tales and princess-like demeanour before always returning to Knowle Park at the Neal's house. During Mary's time as Princess Caraboo, the girl also received several marriage proposals from prestigious men, which she declined for fear of being exposed by her collective deception. Accepting a marriage proposal would indeed have jeopardised her pretense. If she had gotten married, her future husband would have almost certainly conducted a more thorough investigation into her life and family, thus risking her lie becoming quickly public. However, despite the missed wedding, it was precisely thanks to the Neal family, particularly Mrs. Neal, that Mary's deceit was ultimately uncovered, revealing her true identity. Mrs. Neal was an aristocratic woman of great learning who spoke several foreign languages and had travelled extensively, and managed to prove that the language Mary attributed to her native Pacific homeland was actually just a collection of meaningless grunting sounds. Additionally, as mentioned earlier, Mary hailed from a village not far from Almondsbury and was eventually recognised by a local sailor as Mary Baker, thus her true identity was finally revealed. Mary continued to deny her true identity and her deception. However, faced with overwhelming evidence, Mary had to admit her true identity. Mary had to face ridicule and public shame. Her popularity plummeted dramatically, and marriage proposals disappeared. The Neals expelled her from Knowle Park, and she was banished by the Almondsbury community. So Mary, humiliated and stripped of the false trappings of a princess, returned to her previous life, far from the spotlight of society and the glare of the spotlight. The story of Mary as Princess Caraboo has continued to fascinate over the centuries, becoming the subject of books, films, and plays, a warning for everyone to beware of the manipulations and lies of those we do not know, but who promise us much. And you guys, did you know the crazy story of Princess Caraboo? Have you ever thought about, instead of going to work, pretending to be a kidnapped princess in need of care and asylum from the powerful and wealthy class? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you liked this topic, because this is part of a series of videos about badass women of history, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss the next episode. Thank you for watching.